DeAndre Hopkins with the same playmaker ability. Gibbs, little lower rated than the last two wide receivers that we looked at with that ability, but still very good. And he's probably not going to be super cheap on the auction house, but he's going to be a little cheaper than both those other two wide receivers that we just looked at.
Yeah, we're going to compare him, DeAndre Hopkins, to the Rice. And then, Goo, I'm going to let you explain Motivator.
Yep, sure.
But you take a look here. Obviously, he's not as good as the Rice. He still is a very good receiver, but you can start seeing a little bit of a downgrade when you start looking at the Rice, and even when you get him compared to the Julio. So keep that in mind. I really like the Hopkins. I think his advantage is his Motivator. I think you got to watch where his price settles on the auction house to determine what he gives you. I think there's better options. I think Hopkins is a great receiver for the stack that you get with Motivators. But my concern is you got Julio and you got Rice that are stacked above him. And if you're going to spend premium coin on a guy, I don't think it's the Hopkins. He's more of a compliment to what you're doing. So, Goo, now explain to everybody about Motivator, what he adds to your table as he stacks to your lineup.
Sure. Motivators is a new thing that hit Madden Ultimate Team this past week, and it's the highest end of what we produce, basically. And why, you may ask, and that's because it boosts the entire squad. It boosts your entire squad. They're only available in Motivator packs, but these guys can have some serious impact on the rest of your players. I've seen lineups out there now with 99 overall players because of these Motivators. My personal favorite, just to deviate from the Playmaker topic here for a second, I have the Hopkins in, and I have the new Kelvin Benjamin in, which makes my Randy Moss 99
Spicy.
spec catch. So
people are complaining though about them. People are saying that the Moss
dope.
gets too good animations, and that he'll just one-handed grab a post over the middle of the field. So that's why the best players in the world are going, I'm going to bypass on the Moss just because his spectacular catch is so high. Interesting. I think it's an interesting conversation.
That is interesting. One thing I do want to point out, this is a little tidbit between the Jerry and the DeAndre Hopkins. Take a look at that elusiveness. So when DeAndre catches the ball, only a 75 elusiveness. You're not going to see as many of those spin out of the tackle. Bouncing off of tackles, a lot of possession catches.
That's a good point.
I do like his catch and traffic being higher. Obviously spec catch higher than the go-to, but both him and Julio have a higher spec catch. So I don't know.
Jerry
I like
Rice.
both these guys. Jerry Rice, to me, you want Jerry Rice in your lineup because he's Jerry Rice, but I think I agree with Gibbs here, and I think I might take either one of those receivers.
Don't forget, though, there's a most feared Hopkins that exists.
With Playmaker 90
with
overall.
Playmaker, obviously it's going to be harder to get him on the auction house, but let's see if we can find one here to see what he's going for on the open market.
Even the base Hopkins is really good.
Yeah, no Playmaker.
No Playmaker,
but that's the rub, right?
Still really good.
He's still very good. So take a look right here. Wow, a lot of base Hopkins.
There you go.
Smokes. So
There
for
he is.
$90K, this is pretty good value for one of the most powerful chemistry abilities in the game. Even like right here, this is the price that we were talking about in terms of coins. Like if you're going to spend that many coins, like go for the Rice or even the Julio, I think is probably underneath that. So I love this Hopkins. I feel good about this Hopkins, what he brings to the table. Again, when you compare this Hopkins, though, to that 86 overall Jerry Rice, that Rice's speed, I think, is like 87, 86. So, like, you're only 3 speed away, and he's also probably a lot cheaper. So, in terms of coins. So, just monitor that. I think that Hopkins, you go with the most feared if you're going to go Hopkins.
Gibbs, I think it's got a lot to do with how you're going to use your receiver. Jerry Rice, if you're using him for drags and mesh, Gilgamesh, and you want to turn him up the field after the catch, that's the kind of guy you want in this situation. Hopkins is not going to do much for you after, turning up the field on a crossing route, something like that. He's going to be more of an outside receiver. So, again, just look at how you're going to use these receivers and then act accordingly.